All right, it's Friday night, and I'm just goofing around. I don't have any real projects, nothing I have to adhere to natural or care about some kid's guitar tone. I'm just screwing around with my electronic music, and I get bored a lot, and for me to do another I'm just not feeling that today. I wanted something that would kind of take me to a place I didn't expect, and Rhino has been absolutely phenomenal for that sort of thing. So what I've done here, which is quite absurd, really, is I've got a simple MIDI drum loop, and it's really really simple. My style, actually, it's 4 on the floor, just slowed way down, but I've mangled it to the point, as you'll see here in a minute, where we go somewhere new with it. Now, the first thing that I've done is I've changed all the sounds to the same hi-hat. The kick is a hi-hat, the snare is a hi-hat, and the hi-hat's a hi-hat. And I've bust them out so I can tear them up in Rhino. Let's hear the drums as is. Pretty cool, huh? All right, now let's just go ahead and jump in. I don't want to waste a whole bunch of time preaching. All right, first thing I did, I wanted something really weird. I don't really know what. Just weird, kind of, I don't know, what would Trent Reznor do in a movie kind of deal. And so I took Rhino on what's going to be the kick, as is. It's just a hi-hat. And the first thing I wanted to do was I wanted it to use the dive feature, which means normally the oomph, goes, and it goes way, it's for making kick drums that do the 808 thing. They get deeper and deeper, very useful for metal pitch drop, bass drops, there you go. Anyhow, but I do it backwards. The dive is the frequency we start at. In this case, I start at 26 hertz, and then we end up at 66 hertz. So take a listen to what I've done with this thing. And again, we're doing stupid stuff. I'm trying to get inspiration, something that'll take me to a new place. Here we go. Oh, let me kill the other two tracks there. And if we turn the dive off, of course, it'll just be a 66 hertz thing. Well. Okay, well, actually, let me back up just a little bit. First, I have the dive, which we start out at 66 hertz. Normally, it'll sound like this. Just a boring old drum, nothing really going on there. And then, of course, I've adjusted the sustain, or I kind of want it to ring out a little bit, as you heard, sustain and decay. But I added the dive so that we dive upward, which is backwards. So we start out at 26 hertz, and then we make it up to 66 hertz, which sounds like this. So let me slow it down so you can hear it more. We're at 658. Well, it's fairly subtle in that particular case, but then I went ahead and used the harmonics feature. And these harmonics can get real ridiculous. Boz added them for adding tremendous amounts of realism. I don't know. Well, that's probably a long stretch. I don't know. Not even sure how that came out. I go back and forth. They are useful for making kick drums more less clean in the low end. I kind of like the sine wave in tune sound a lot of times. Anyway, but they're really cool for getting crazy. And so I don't know if you've seen much of this in any videos yet, but take a listen to what I can do with this thing. Say 8, 12, 10. So nothing. We'll start blending those in. Well, that's cooler than what I had. Maybe I should be using that. Ooh. I approach this thing as kind of what can I do with this? What can I break with this today? Mostly. I don't really know what I would do on anything specific, but I'm just playing, and that's, again, it's a creative thing. And for this, I've already heard things that I find really interesting. Let's see where we are. Let's go with that. I'm going to call that the Clockwork Orange sound. And that's a kick, but it's also kind of doing the bass as well, although it'll be out of tune and stuff. But again, no rules. Okay, moving on to the snare. Let's see. The snare, again, started out as a hi-hat. And let's fire up this Rhino. First thing I did, I go to the direct thingy, And I got the high-pass filter that's got the resonance all the way up. The high-pass filter is set at 320 hertz. So we're going to be boosting some chunk, or kind of almost a boxy kind of chunk. So let's hear that first. And we've also got the high-pass filter, or a low-pass filter at 1,000. So I'm knocking off all the top end, and I'm boosting the living crap out of 320, knocking off everything under 320. But there's not a whole lot down there anyway. It is a hi-hat. And then if we solo that. All right, so far so good. Now let's go to the oomph. Let's see what I did here. I don't even remember. Okay, I got the dive going. Dive is starting out at 566 hertz, and it's ended up at 74 hertz, which is subwoofer land. Now, the interesting thing about that, that's a pretty large dive, a large discrepancy in frequencies. So it looks like I'm going pretty fast here, too. Let's see what happens with this. Without it. With it. Okay, so nothing really mind-blowing there. And then I got the click on. Let's see what we did with the click. All right, I got it up on the top left, which is the sustaining, noisy, fizzy thing, for lack of a better term. Yeah, I'm not touching the filter. Let's see what's going on, though. Okay. Now, it's a little bit cool, a little bit stereotype, typical electronic music type stuff. But I wanted to have more fun with this. And so I used another instance of Rhino on a group track, auxiliary send for you guys at home. Let's see what I did there. Okay, now I took the Rhino here. Let's see what this adds first. Uh-oh. And that dive we heard before didn't add a whole lot, but it added some chunk, I guess. But now when we send it to this thing, for some reason I'm hearing this boom at the beginning and then hearing the ambience after the fact. And again, that's the world's cheapest reverb you can imagine. I'm using the little squiggly line thing, the top left click again. And I'm using the filter to knock off some of the top I don't like. I mean, without the filter on, what would it sound like? It sounds like static, I guess. So I didn't want that. I wanted to go with this bad reverb, and I think that's what I got here. Yeah. And then, of course, I used a stock Cubase compressor just to keep everything simple here. And I'm just destroying it, attack and release it as fast as possible, ratio all the way up. Enormous amounts of makeup gain. So I'm basically just using the click feature, which again is, I say again a lot. Quit saying again. The click feature, which we originally designed to be for Pantera type kick drums or rock, whatever. Adding beater. In this case, if you use the sustaining top left and compress the living crap out of it, it becomes a really effective ultra lo-fi reverb with balls. And you got to compress it, but that's not a hard sell for me. Okay, so as is, where are my orange ones? All right, listen to the kick and snare together. And I'm already liking where this is going because I don't, well, especially the kick thing, kick bass deal. I would have never thought of that. I don't ever do that. So that's really, really, really cool. Okay, let's see what I've done to this hi-hat. All right, I can already tell that I've knocked off everything above 1K with the low-pass filter. So that's already getting interesting. Let's see. Okay, nothing mind-blowing, but it's a fun start. The oomph, who knows what the hell I'm doing? You know, why would you need oomph on a hi-hat, right? Well, we can set these frequencies wherever we want the damn things to go. So I'm starting to dive at 807 hertz, and it goes down to 820, it looks like. So not or up to 820. So we're going backwards again, but it doesn't look like it's, you know, that's a very subtle shift, so whatever. Not a lot of sustain or decay. And we do have some harmonics going, so let's just listen and see where we are here. And now this is starting to feel like the Trent Reznor Facebook movie score thing a little bit. Maybe not, maybe everything about it except the good parts, you know. Anyway, keeping on. I've got the harmonics on quite hot here. Let's check those out real quick. No idea what I'm doing there, but I've got the frequency down pretty low, and I'm using 10 harmonics, and I got the level up pretty good. And of course the click now. Let's go to the last menu. All right, so we're adding that kick drum attack to that hi-hat, and it kind of makes it sound like there's two things at once. I don't know what's going on. All I know is I like it. All right, now I've got all this going to a drum bus that's got the stock Cubase compressor once again. I'm just smashing it pretty hard. Nothing fancy there. So I'm using 4 rhinos here. One on the kick, one on the snare, quote-unquote reverb send, and one on the hi-hat. Now let's hear my little creation here. I mean, this is all, very basic, early. I just made it up 20 minutes ago or so. Let's just see where we stand. Oh, wait, there's another thing I got to show you real quick. Sorry, water I just picked up. The pitch on the hi-hat, it was too static, the thing. I wanted it to get a little nuttier. And so what I did, I went to the oomph here, and if you watch it, I hit the right button on Cubase Automation, and I was messing with the frequency of the dive here. So the frequency will fluctuate on the hi-hat. Take a listen. This is low, that's high. Okay, so I don't know if that's not going to be everybody's cup of tea and whatever, but I wanted to make my little Facebook wannabe song, and I wanted to do it in ways that didn't just sound like my usual electronic music kick drums. I wanted to find new sounds that inspired me, and I found Rhino to be absolutely exceptional for that. So if you guys are kind of into this, just screwing around, making new sounds thing, if there's a better tool for that than Rhino, then I don't know what it is. Over and out.